Hello, people. I am. Hold on. Let me get the nerves out. Okay. Hello, people. I'm Jaby Koay, joined by ACHARA KIRK.
Hello.
And Jimmy Sheirgill. I know what you're thinking. You're wondering what Jimmy Sheirgill had to do in order to, get on the Jaby Koay show. What strings he had to pull. 67 rupees.
I'm glad we did this because the moment you said, can we do an interview over...
As soon as the thing starts, your friend is freaking out.
Do you want some water?
She's like, I need to be the star of the show, not Jimmy. Okay, so sorry, you proceed.
So basically, the moment you said that, let's do this interview over Skype, I was like, Skype?
Yeah.
No ways, boss. I've never done that. So, and suddenly, I don't know how it just, this trip just came up.
Yeah.
And the first thing that came to my mind was, hey, listen. So I texted you saying that, JB, you want to do it live, we can do it live.
Yeah.
That's how it all happened there. So I'm glad it happened. I enjoy what you guys do here. I mean, you make me laugh so much with all the stuff. And
Hopefully in a good way.
yeah, obviously in a good way, yeah. So you guys are doing a great job, and that's the way it is, and I'm glad I'm here.
Yeah. You're the first Bollywood actor to come on the channel, like
Live.
actually here.
Right
Proud of
here.
that.
Yeah. So anyone watching this is freaking out right now because it's like the very first time.
I feel like I'll never
Absolutely.
clean this table again. Jimmy Sheirgill was here.
I know what you guys are thinking. How does he smell? Like heaven in a bottle.
I don't know.
All right, I'm gonna just go to my questions really quick, just to take the attention off my nerves. So, are you aware of companies like Pocket Aces and TVF, AIB? Those they're like internet digital content creators.
Kind of.
Well, there's companies that do like web series and whatnot, and I happen to be friends with a lot of the big ones in India, and they're all kind of wondering, will Jimmy Sheirgill ever do like a web series or anything for one of those?
I would love to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's quite a lot of stuff coming up, and people do get in touch with you, and it's just that you have only an X amount of time because you're doing films, and coming back to the web series and all. Now these people need a lot of time, so it's going to be almost 3 to 6 months.
Okay.
Of your time.
Yeah.
Right,
You need to
okay.
give to somebody who's making a nice, good one.
Yeah.
As long as that time, the frame falls into your scheme of things correctly, I think one can do that.
Okay.
You have done a variety of different roles. Like, what draws you to a role when someone offers you something? What makes you say yes?
The most important thing for me is the script. There has to be, I don't think whether this guy has the money to make it the way, whatever, but first thing is the script. You read it and okay, fine. Even if this guy is running short of some kind of monies or whatever, you're going to try and help him out.
Yeah.
Get in touch with somebody, some producers and tell them that, this is a film that needs to be made. This guy is short of this much. Why don't you join hands and come and do that? That's happened. The most important thing is the script,
Yeah.
and then your character that you're this thing. But I end up doing a lot of films for friends also.
That's
so
cool.
a friend is making a movie and there's a nice special part in the film as a special appearance or whatever, and they say that that we want you to do this, so I end up doing that.
I notice you don't have a mustache right now.
Right now, yeah. Because,
Normally, almost every trailer I've seen, you got like that twirly mustache going on.
Yeah.
That's stuck to me now somehow, and for most of the films, and people say that we need you to have the mustache.
Yeah.
So, okay, fine. Then.
Okay. This comes from Biswapati Sarkar. He's a writer-director at TVF, one of those online web companies that I was telling you about. He asks, of all of the characters and films he's done, what is the best written part he's received and was the most nervous to do justice to the text? He's not allowed to pick his first film, Machis.
I think Sahib Biwi Gangster, the second part.
Okay.
think,
Is that which one did we watch? Was the first one today or the second
We
one?
watched the first
We watched the
trailer,
first one.
yeah.
Okay.
So there was the second part, because at the end of the first part, what happens is the Sahib is shot in the back,
Okay.
In the spine, and obviously he's kind of
Crippled. Yeah.
paralyzed, and the BV takes over everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you left the first one, and the second one starts from there.
Okay.
So when the director Tigmanshu, also a very close friend of mine, when he was writing the script, I said, this Sahib is going to be, according to you, he's now on the wheelchair throughout the film. So
Yeah.
I hope that doesn't become boring for people.
Yeah.
Because just a guy on a wheelchair doing the whole thing. Whereas in the previous one, you've seen him with so much of action and so much of, that energy level and stuff like that. And suddenly that same guy is like, now. So he said, no, you don't worry. You leave it to me and I'm going to make sure nothing of that sort happens. But I was nervous. I mean, I say that even today when I'm going to approach any particular character, the first couple of days I'm very nervous. I'm like, because I am trying to find that particular character.
This comes from Brojesh Mulia. He asks, why don't you get the girls in films? And why do you stay forever alone?
As long as you're alone in the movies only, it's okay. In reality, you should never be alone. And I think that's what matters in the film. At least you have something to talk about right now.
Okay.
And I love the way you sympathize with me. Thank you so much for that.
Sumit Vyas, who's also an actor working in Bollywood now, he asks, he's managed to look exactly the same for 2 decades. What is he on? I mean, he's a good-looking dude.
So I don't know what films of mine you've been watching, bro. I mean, you see Sahib Biwi and all. It's funny that I'm offered. I don't know why I'm offered all these really matured roles. I'm glad I am. But,
What was that word you
but
used?
otherwise-
What kind of roles?
Matured.
Matured.
Roles that are age-wise much more older
Okay.
than I am actually. So they want. The salt and pepper look and all
Yeah.
that, whatever. So most of the times when you're doing those kind of films and they all start releasing, so people start feeling that, he's kind of become old or whatever. But in reality, I mean, you work hard on yourself. There are times when you have to put on weight and this thing and be the character. But then obviously the moment you're out of that particular character, you go back because you're conscious. You have to be conscious when you're in this industry. So you start running, you try to lose all that weight. All of a sudden, I try to choose something which is younger or whatever, so that it kind of pushes you to work hard and
Oh, gotcha.
bring you back to your own self.
Gotcha. Do you have a special secret Sheirgill diet?
Regimen.
A certain regimen that you do? Other than
not-
running. It's like, is there something you eat like this?
I
is
run.
the-
I
Okay.
run. I got a problem with my neck, the spine, some 6-7 years back, and since then I started doing yoga, which has helped me a lot.
Okay.
And then the running is a constant. It's like
Okay.
that's something that you really need to do if you need to, whatever.
All right.
And then since then, obviously, because of working out and everything, you have somebody planning out a diet for you, but it's nothing out of the box. It's just a balanced diet that they give you.
Tushar Lal, who's a music composer, he asks, why does he look so strict in life, apart from being a great actor that he is? If he ever calls me to chill with him, I would show up in formals. But he's a chill guy.
I am a serious kind of a guy, and I wouldn't say that I'm not. I am a little serious. Maybe I've seen a lot in life at a very young age. I am a kind of a sober guy. But that doesn't mean that I can't have fun. I can.
Do you think those experiences kind of lend itself well to the intensity you bring to certain roles?
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
I think that's what people say. That somebody. I'm talking mostly, I forget about the actors, I'm saying in terms of the directors also, that if a director has seen a lot in life,
Yeah.
when he shoots a film, when he makes a film, you can see that coming out of the film. So that is why in our industry, there are people like Sujit Sarkar, Anand Rai, Tigmanshu Dhulia, Neeraj Pandey. All these people have seen so much while coming up. They're so rooted, and then they make films. So they've seen all that, and when they show it on screen, Anurag Kashyap, these are the kind of guys who've seen that, and they pick up that slice of life, put it on screen, and that's why people connect to it.
Right. So this comes from Anjali Malik. How difficult does it get to break out of the cage when you're stereotyped in an industry like Bollywood, considering he has been stereotyped for the role of the small town rowdy, looking at performances in Tanu One's Manu series, Sahib Biwi Gangster, and now Mukkabaz, or even Happy Bag Jayagi, all of which are great performances, by the way, is what
Thank
she
you
said.
so much. Yeah, thank you.
Does he think Bollywood and its casting directors are perhaps lazy? It even happened to Richa Chadha, who was offered only roles of an aged mother after she did Gangs of Wasseypur, even though she's just 30.
Okay, hi Anjali. That's a very long but a very nice question. I think, with me, what has happened is from my first film, that was Machis, I had an issue with my looks. I started receiving calls, and when I used to go and meet them, they used to look at me because I was again clean shaven and short hair and everything. They go, no, we're not. We called for Jimmy Sheirgill who did Machis. I said, I'm the same guy. Okay, no, but we wanted that beard and the long hair. That's the kind of a look we were looking at and all that, whatever. And I used to feel really sad. This is I said, I grew that beard for that movie. I can grow it again. No, but we're shooting in a few days or whatever.
Right.
And you would feel that, there was a nice role and, and anyways, you move on. Then Mohabbatein happened. And with Mohabbatein, for about a couple of years, there was a tag that was put on to be, that was like chocolate boy, lover boy. And I started to think at nights, and I used to think that, this, running around trees and, singing songs and doing all this is going to get over in the next 3-4 years. Yeah. All the trees of the world are going to get over. Yeah. All locations are going to get over. And I don't see myself going beyond these 3-4 years. And I started picking and choosing films like Hasil, like Munna Bhai MBBS. Something that was not me in terms of the other films that I was doing. I started to break the image. So suddenly it was from a lover boy, intense, like that, and stuff like that. And then A Wednesday happened, wherein they said that, this guy can be an angry young man.
That was like one of my earliest exposures to you was A Wednesday. It was just like that kind of very serious cop.
So then suddenly they started saying that, he can play the angry young man also. Slowly with films, other films like Yahan and Sujit Sarkar's first film.
Yeah.
Playing that army captain and stuff like that. And then obviously Tanu Weds Manu or whatever. So whatever she's saying is right. I mean, in the sense that what films have worked probably are the ones in which I have played those kind of intense roles. So now you're saying intense. Now I'll have to break that also, because that's the reason why I'm doing more comedies right now, so that the rowdy thing is cut off and the intensity is cut off, and people start saying. But I know after a few years, then they'll start saying, he's then typecast as a comic guy. Why is he only doing comic films?
Right.
So that is why I'm saying that some films you do on the side, not thinking whether they'll work or not, or how big or small they are, but you do it for your own creative satisfaction.
Yeah.
That I'm getting to play something which I haven't done in a while.
I think the second Bollywood film that we watched was Happy Bhag Jayagi.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, I hate this guy. He's so, but like in a good way. Like, I love that I hate him. He's doing such a good job with his performance. Like, I thought you did a great job with Happy Bhag Jayagi. It was awesome.
But the second part is coming out in August now.
Okay.
It's coming out on the 24th of August. So the entire team is the same. And we've got Sonakshi Sinha.
Okay.
But this time, I feel if you liked Happy Bhag Jayegi Part 1, you'll love this more, is because the Happy Bhag Jayegi, the first one, the entire pre-climax to the climax, which was everybody's running. This entire film, everyone's running. So just imagine what a roller coaster thing is going to be.
Wow.
This comes from a friend of mine named Dara. She says his first film was Machis, which was directed by Gulzar, who is one of the top writer-lyricists in India. How was the experience like to work with him?
I've learnt everything from Gulzar sir. I always say, even now when people ask me in my interviews over there, that who do you want to, work with in terms of directors? And I say that, I've worked with so many of them, but I really want to do a film with Gulzar Saab once more, because that's where I started, and that's how I will probably be able to gauge myself, that how far have I come in all these years, because I started with him.
Yeah.
So I want to see how I feel when he's directing me.
This comes from Nidhi Singh, who is also an up-and-coming actress in Bollywood. She did a lot of web series stuff, and she's a big fan of yours. She goes, love him for how he gets into the skin of his characters and the variety of emotions he can portray. From Asil to Happy Bhag Jayagi, all his portrayals have been the most authentic, endearing, and versatile. And the fact that he's handsome as he is an added bonus, smiley face. Hope I get to work with him one day. How does he prep for his characters? You kind of asked that already. But I'm just gonna, I just wanted her voice to be in there. Nidhi's complimenting you.
Thank you so much for, your question. Like I said before, I think it all depends on how much of hard work the writer or the director has already put into the script. If that person has really worked hard and etched out your character like really nicely, it becomes easier for you to just slip into it. If it's very basic, which a lot many times it is, then you got to sit down with the director, the writer, and figure out as to what space they are looking at it and how you're looking at it, and things happen. I'll give you a small little example. It's from a film called Mukkabaz, which released recently, and Anurag Kashyap directed that film, and there was this evil, real bad guy in the film, which he somehow in his head, I don't know why, but he thought that, I want Jimmy Sheirgill for this role. I get a call and I was like, okay, send me the script. I read the script and I said that this is evil, but it's the way it's written pretty flat. It's one tone in every single scene. So he said, you don't worry about that because I will make sure that it comes out as something else. So obviously, Anurag, I had wanted to work with him for such a long time and I had known him for years. So I knew that he's going to take care of that. We sat down and we started to talk about the look of the character. So he said, firstly, I would want you to put on a little bit of weight. So I said, we've got just about 3 to 4 weeks to start shooting. He said, yeah, 4 weeks mein. So I said, chalo, theek hai, I'll take care of that. Then he said, I want this salt and pepper look, like that, short hair. And then he said that I want you to wear contacts in both the eyes. They should be like light gray kind of eyes and stuff like that. So that's the kind of a look I want. I went back home, I started thinking about it, and I think the next day in the evening or something, I called him back and I said, what if he has only one of the eyes, he puts the contact, and the other eye we don't put the contact. So that would mean that he was a boxer. He got hurt in one of the matches, and that is why at a very young age he had to quit, and that is why the frustration. He said, super, but we'll try it. We'll try both and we'll try that also. So I said, okay, fine. First day of shooting. So he said, okay, fine. First wear one and then we'll decide. And then show me both the contacts. So I wore one. I came to him. He said, that's it.
Okay.
And not putting on the second. Yeah. So sometimes things just happen, and sometimes they're so well written on paper that it makes your job so much easier.
What's it like? You said Anurag Kashyap, and my ears really perked up because he's one of my favorite directors.
He's brilliant.
So what's it like working with him? Is he a super intense guy? Is he super chill? Like, because his movies are so, like, the ones I've watched are so dark. Like, is he a dark person or is he very happy on set?
Oh, he's a very happy guy. I've never seen him sitting in front of the monitor.
Okay.
This is the monitor. And he's got the headphones.
Yeah.
He'll tell you what to do. Then he's just watching the frame. And he's not sitting down. He's standing. And he's like a boxer. Or he's just like doing this. Or he's just moving like that all the time. That's how he is.
Wow.
When he's shooting.
Okay.
So much of energy, so much of whatever. But some ways I think he's like me. He doesn't come too strong onto you, but he's ready to experiment. He's brilliant. I mean, he's really somebody who's doing this also and doing that also and trying to see. And he moves on very fast.
Yeah.
So I think he's also the kind of a guy who I don't think he gets affected by what works and what doesn't work, as long as the people who watch his films, he is very true to them.
Yeah.
And he's giving them what they expect out of him.
Okay. This is a very, very long one. This comes from an actor who worked with you. Because I was texting a bunch of people last night, and I was like, who's worked with Jimmy? Like, I want a good story that I can have him talk about. So this comes from Anshuman Jha, and he sent me a huge text, so I'm going to read it all to you out of, hopefully it's entertaining for everybody. So he says, so Jimmy, sir, 3 standout films for me. 2, Mohabati In and A Wednesday, as an audience in awe, and 1, Fugly, as a young co-actor to experience him in action. I was a kid in my teens dreaming to be an actor when Mahbatan, how do you say it? Mahbatan came in 2000, and of course there was Shah Rukh Khan and Mr. Amitabh Bachchan, but the one actor who left a real mark amongst the debutantes in that film was Jimmy Sheirgill. Sheirgill? I've been saying Sheirgill this whole time, and you haven't corrected me.
Sheirgill.
Sheirgill. Okay. In 2008, while I had just wrapped my graduation, I saw the same man hammer his way through a powerful performance in probably the best Hindi film that year, A Wednesday. I eventually got a chance to share screen space with him when I did a special appearance in Fugly. And to be honest, he was one of the reasons why I agreed to do the film, because I absolutely love the man. Experience one day en route to set. It was night shoot, so we left the hotel together in the evening, and he said, "Why don't you come with me?" So I drove with him in his car, one of the most chilled co-stars I've had the good opportunity to work with. He was having a drink with me and asked if I do, and when I said I don't drink, he said, "Someday we'll have a drink together." He is the definition of swag for me. I can attest to that. And and that is so relaxed. An absolute gentleman and probably one of the best we have. So it's not a question, but just like recounting an experience with you. Do you remember Anshuman John?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is a picture he sent me of you guys. That's
Yeah,
your photo together.
So firstly, Anshuman, you're a brilliant actor. Yeah? You were brilliant in Fugly. We had such a great time while shooting those sequences because they were all supposed to be scared of me in those sequences. But this guy had an attitude, and he did it so well. And thank you so much for everything that you said about me. Thank you so much. And hopefully we do have a drink. We probably coffee someday.
Now these are from fans, just from Twitter. Akhil Revta asks, how has the industry changed from Mohabatan, I'm saying it so wrong, to famous now?
The industry has changed a lot since the time I started off. There were just a few television channels at that point of time when I started my career in the Hindi film industry with Machis, or probably just before Machis. There were just these few television channels. There were just these few producers who would make films. And today you see so many channels on television, so many reality shows, so many producers, so many corporate houses producing films, so many solo producers. So there's lots happening. But we witnessed it all. We probably started off at a time where there were just the normal telephones.
Yeah.
And then the pagers came, even though they were really short-lived. They just came for a few months, and the mobile industry took over. I'm glad to have probably seen that era. And then today, I think the audiences today have become far more accepting in terms of anything new that comes up. Today they are more open to new ideas. They don't care whether it's a newcomer's film or a new director's directed it. As long as they are watching something which is interesting, they would go. And that is the reason why you see so many films these days in Bollywood with newcomers and everything doing huge business.
Yeah.
Like 50 crores, 100 crores, like that. So it's basically what connects. And the audience is far more accepting today.
Kartikeya Sharma asks, what's most fun to play, a good guy or a badass? I'm not going to say all these movie titles because I'll just butcher it. But
I think for me, the most fun to play is a light-hearted role.
Yeah?
It could be anything. I mean, I have thoroughly enjoyed doing this happy part too, because you don't have to think too much. You go there, you know what you're doing, and you have a good director guiding you.
Yeah.
And he tells you the space you gotta be in, and then you just go through the lines, rehearse with the people, and then just have fun. And I feel that I have a lot of fun when I'm doing these light-hearted films, because these serious, intense ones are really draining. By the end of the day, you're like kind of finished.
Do you think that it has anything to do with what you're consistently given? Like, first you started with the romance, you're like, I don't want to do romance, I want to do something serious. And you do serious for a while, like, okay, I'm done with that.
No, why? I want to do romance now.
Yeah.
I want to do some nice romantic films.
Is there a female co-star that you hope to work with? Like,
Well, I wanted to work with Tabu, and fortunately, I'm doing a film with her now, with Ajay Devgan, Tabu, Rakul, and myself. It's called De De Pyar De. Love Ranjan is producing the film, and he's written the film as well. Akiv is directing it.
Okay.
It's a light-hearted rom-com, so we're having fun on the sets. So I wanted to work with Tabu because I had worked with her in Machis, and I wanted to work with her again.
Yeah.
and got the chance to work with her. So yeah, so we're having fun.
You were saying like the intense roles take a lot out of you.
Yeah.
Like, how do you decompress when you come back from set if you've been working really intensely like that?
The moment I walk out of the set, I leave the character behind. I mean, because then I'm a very different person. I think I'm not the kind of a person who can take that particular character back home and be that particular character all the time. I think I'll go mad because I, as it is, think too much. There's too much going on in my head, and if I start taking that particular character also back home, then I don't know, this is going to be madness. Initially, when I started off, I was so nervous all the time. There was this nervous energy just before every take. I would go into a shell. After a few films, I started to tell myself, why are you doing this to yourself? I mean, try to take it easy and give a shot.
Yeah.
And see how it goes. So you'll discover something new, maybe whatever. So it took me some time, and I started to relax. And then I started to feel that the more relaxed I am, the better I feel in front of the camera.
There's this moment in the trailer for, I think it's Famous, where a gunshot goes off right in front of you. And you look, and you have this kind of interesting expression on your face. And it just stood out to me as like hilarious, but like in a good way. It made me wonder how often you kind of just make up a moment or make up a response, or if everything is by the book, like by the script. Like, how often do you improv as this short?
No, we improvise a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I think, like I was telling you about mukkabas and everything, we improvise a lot. But in this film, there was a certain kind of a vulnerability that my character has in Famous. And not only that moment, because that moment is obviously in the trailer, so you feel it. So it's just that this guy who's very passionate about guns, who's obsessed with guns, and suddenly the man who he adores and who he, respects so much just takes the gun and he fires all of a sudden. So it was a very vulnerable kind of a expression that was there. And that's a different thing that, these weapons that we have for filming and, for the shooting of the films and all that, whatever, they can fire from any side. So that expression can be quite genuine also. That
I remember watching an interview of Tom Hanks many years ago, and he was talking about working with Paul Newman. That's the actor from Butch Cassidy, right? He was talking about working with Paul Newman and how nervous he got at working with such an actor. And it's like, this is Tom Hanks, who's been in the industry for years. Is there any actor for you, when you work with them or, think about working with them, it makes you a little bit nervous? You're like, oh my God, it's.
I am nervous most of the time. It's a different thing that I don't show it, but I am. I mean, when I start a new film, for the first few days, I'm really nervous.
Yeah.
And then after 2-3 days, then you get used to the whole thing, and then you start.
Akal Revda had another question. What is the difference between Punjabi film industry and Hindi film industry in terms of working environment?
It's the same, yes. Basically, all these technicians and the people you're working with are mostly from Bombay. It's just that the language is different. Otherwise, the entire team is mostly of people who have come from Bombay. Today, because the Punjabi film industry is doing well and stuff like that, you have a whole lot of local talent from Punjab. And also a whole lot of the crew, which is doing a lot of films, which is based out of Punjab. Otherwise, I think language is the only thing that is different.
Lurker asks, how does it feel when people call you one of the most underrated actors?
I take it as a compliment.
Okay.
I think
All
at
right.
least they don't say that you're most overrated. That would be bad.
Nilufer Nawaz says, love Jimmy in Mir Yar Ki Hai. It was copied from a Hollywood movie, My Best Friend's Wedding. And my question is, he worked in many Bollywood and Punjabi movies. Why didn't he try for any South Indian movies? And I love him a lot.
Thank you so much. I love you back. I have actually been offered South Indian films, quite a few of them. They've not materialized mostly because of the date issues. And I'm hoping that very soon I end up doing a South Indian film, because I really want to do a South Indian film. Earlier on, there were roles which were maybe negative, but now some really nice roles are being offered. It's always just that the timing, when they want to shoot is the time when you're shooting for something else in Hindi. But I'm hoping that very soon I end up doing a South Indian film, because I really want to do one.
Who would win in a fight between Salman Khan and Rajnikant? It's a divisive question. I thought I'd throw in there.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
I'm just joking. I'm not going to make him answer that. Arsh Kera, this is not a question. He says, just tell him he's awesome. One of the finest performers India has.
Thank you so much, Arsh. Thank you.
This comes from Mirani Kumar. What was it like playing Arif in this movie? Oh, I think it's a Wednesday. And why do movies on sensitive topics not given as grand a reception in Bollywood or generally as other genres?
See, A Wednesday was really appreciated. It did really well at the box office also. It's a different thing that it was something that went on to become a huge hit because of the word of mouth. The film released and the next show was bigger, the next one was even bigger because everybody suddenly started to talk about the film and they said, you must go and watch the film. But yes, I mean, these kind of films should be made. It was a film that left an impact on you. I get messages and calls today also. Whenever it comes on television, people put it there, watching Wednesday, and it's amazing. These kind of films should get far more appreciation and box office success than they normally do.
There's a big divide, as at least with regards to like on the comments of videos between Bollywood and South India cinema. Do you think that will always be the case, or will there be like this kind of unified Indian film industry at some point? Like over here in the States, we don't have that. We had it between hip hop artists on East Coast, West Coast, but never in the film industry where like New York and LA were opposed to each other in any capacity or had different styles. But
that's obviously because for you guys, the language is the same.
Right.
For us, they are different languages. So that is why we call it the regional films.
Right.
So you have down south. Within down south, you'll have about 3-4 of them. Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, So within them also is that a Telugu film did that much box office.
Right.
Or a Tamil film can only do this much. Or Malayalam can only do that much. It's basically because of the language, this thing. Otherwise, as a box office, if you would look at it, even a film like a Bahubali 2, they had dubbed it in Hindi also.
Gotcha.
With Hindi and the South thing worldwide ended up becoming the hugest ever in the history of Indian cinema.
That's the kind of thing that makes me think that maybe someday the walls will come down and that
which is happening now because the Bahubali is being shot in Hindi also and in a South Indian language also at the same time. So Karan Johar is a part of the Hindi one as a producer and the South people are making that one. So now the film releases and because like you were saying, they're unified and the box office is far bigger.
Is it tough balancing like this crazy work schedule with films and being a dad at the same time? I imagine it's like really tough.
I think the kids today are so busy themselves. I mean, they wake up in the morning and they have to go to school. They come back, they've got some soccer coaching happening. They come back, then they've got tuition. So they are busier than you are. And obviously my wife is a housewife and she is like totally clued on to taking care of him.
What advice would you give to a young actor trying to, break into Bollywood or like just starting out? What can you do to have a long career?
It's not only about films. In life also, I watched this movie when I was a kid, Vidhata, and there's a line in that अगर बड़ा आदमी बनना है तो छोटी-छोटी हरकतें करना बंद कर दो, which in English means that if you want to make it big one day, don't stoop down to doing petty things. So I've kind of followed that thing. So whatever all these years I've earned is friends, friendship, respect, everything, because I've never stooped down to doing anything, petty. And I think that's the only advice I would give people is that just relax. Whatever is written in your destiny, nobody can take it away from you. Work hard, but don't stoop down to doing petty things because those things will never leave you in your life. When you make it also, then also.
Okay, cool.
Good advice.
Good advice. I think that concludes this awesome interview. I thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, JB.
Very much appreciate
It's an honor
you
being here.
flying out to
Pleasure
LA
being
just
here.
to...
Yeah.
Are you on social media? Like, I'm obviously on Twitter. Are you on
I am
Instagram as well?
It's Insta, Twitter, and Facebook. I'm not a very active person, but I do read everything that anybody posts.
Okay.
So whenever you write to me, I would be reading that. That's for sure.
Okay. So you guys tweet at him, Instagram him, do all the things because he's reading all the posts. And thank you again. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Check out our other interviews and reactions and reviews. I'm Jaby Koay. This is
ACHARA.
And we have
Jaby Sheirgill.
Peace out.